Mr. Carver, why you think the accession process of Serbia and Kosovo have this Brexit dimension?
Well, of course, I speak as a UKIP member of the European Parliament, and obviously we've reached a stage and we've seen how shambolic the renegotiation process has been with regards to our own Prime Minister and what hasn't been achieved in those renegotiations, despite all his promises and manifesto pledges even at the last general election. And I think we're actually, the European referendum debate isn't just about where we are in the European Union. It's, if we vote to remain members of the European Union, it's about where the European Union is heading and what the European Union is doing through all the association agreements, very much through what is being said by all groups, on my opposing groups within the plenary chamber and of course in committee, backed up by the support for Mr. McAllister's report, certainly on Serbia, and of course Mr. Lunacek's report on Kosovo, is there is a willingness to have these two former Balkan countries within the European Union.
You said also that there is a certain danger to accelerate the accession process amid the migration crisis.
Well, I think it is. I mean, everybody, irrespective of your political view, realise the huge pressures that are being placed on Serbia with regards to the migrant crisis. And we have to look at this. We've got a situation with Kosovo. We all know about the disputes between Serbia and Kosovo. But aside of that, actually, we've got to be asking the British people in this referendum campaign the question: do they support an European Union again moving further east? I don't think that's a good idea. And actually, on balance, if the British people were asked that question at a time when we voted for the common market in 1975, that's what we voted for. We voted for a common market, not for an ever-expanding European Union. And let's make no bones about it. This is about creating a new superpower. This is about expansion of the European Union. And the point I raise, I do a lot of work on re-recognition for a North African country called Somaliland, which is at the moment is part of the Federation of Somalia. Now, they declared UDI, as Kosovo did, Universal Declaration of Independence, 25 years ago. I've asked questions, as I indicated in my parliamentary speech just now. I've asked questions of the Commission, written questions, and it seems to me it's one rule for one and one for the other. If they're looking at EU integration, they're quite happy to liaise and engage with countries such as Kosovo. But of course, with regards to Somaliland, oh no, that's not on the card. So it's one rule for one and one rule for others. And it actually shows, it backs up my opinion that not only is the European Union not a level playing field, certainly with regards to British business interests, but actually not a level playing field in the area of foreign affairs. And I think that was highlighted by the point I made during the debate.
One more question. There are 5 countries that don't accept the independence of Kosovo among the member states. But also some critics say that recognition of Kosovo opened a Pandora box and also was used by, for example, Mr. Putin when he decided to annex Crimea, or when he helped to declare independence to Abkhazia and Southern Ossetia. How you would estimate the impact on global politics of Kosovo recognition?
I think it's very easy. If you're critical of the EU integration process and the association agreements with the former Balkan countries, certainly my political opponents, and I've heard it from EPP, I've heard it from ALDE, I've heard it from S&D, they all seem to think I'm pro-Putin. I'm not pro-Putin. I completely disagree with what Mr. Putin is doing in Russia. So don't think for 1 minute. So it seems to be an easy snipe, really, just to sort of say, oh, well, he must be pro-Putin. Not at all. But I think what we have to accept is after the fall of the Iron Curtain, we had the old border, we had the NATO Warsaw Pact before then, and it's clear that Putin, whether we like it or not, is seeing EU expansion eastwards into the old Warsaw Pact territories, actually seeing that as a threat to Russian sovereignty. And I actually think we're actually playing a very silly game here, because I think we're playing into Putin's hands, because Putin likes to be the big brave nationalist as he is in Russia, and we're actually feeding more propaganda towards his own political ends. And so I'm not a Putin fan in any way, shape or form, but I recognise the need for genuine diplomacy, and actually prodding the Russian bear, as I've said in the chamber, isn't the solution actually to long-term peace and stability in not just the European Union, but on the continent of Europe, in the Balkans, and on the Russian steppes.